an emergency bonus, higher SSI and SSDI checks, and talk that something could be changing quickly. If you rely on Social Security, SSI, or SSDI, that kind of news gets your attention fast. Because right now, every dollar matters. Groceries cost more. Utilities cost more. And for many people watching this, the monthly check doesn't stretch the way it used to. So let's slow this down together. I'm going to walk you through what's actually being signaled, what it could mean for you, and just as importantly, what has not changed yet. Because clarity matters more than headlines. Right now, what's being discussed is the idea of an emergency-style financial boost, something outside the usual annual increase that happens through the cost of living adjustment, also known as COLA. Normally, COLA is the only time your benefits go up. That happens once a year, and it's tied to inflation data. It's predictable, it's scheduled, and it's already built into the system. But what's being talked about here is different. This would be a separate, additional increase, potentially temporary, aimed at helping people deal with rising costs in real time, instead of waiting for the next yearly adjustment. That's why it's getting attention. Now, before we go any further, here's the most important thing you need to hear clearly. Nothing has been officially approved yet. There is no confirmed emergency bonus payment date. There is no finalized increase amount. And there has been no formal announcement from the Social Security Administration changing your current benefit. So if you're worried about missing something, you're not. Your current payments are still following the same schedule they always have. And we'll go over those dates in just a moment. But first, let's talk about what this emergency bonus idea actually means in practical terms, because that's where a lot of confusion is coming from. When policymakers talk about something like this, they're usually referring to one of two possibilities. The first is a one-time payment. Think of it like a stimulus-style check, a single deposit meant to help offset immediate financial pressure. For example, if someone receives $943 a month in SSI, a one-time bonus of, say, $200 or $300 could provide short-term relief without permanently changing the monthly benefit. The second possibility is a temporary increase to monthly checks. This would mean your regular payment goes up for a limited period, maybe a few months, and then returns to its normal level. For example, if someone receives $1,200 per month from SSDI, a temporary boost of $100 would bring that to $1,300 for that period. Now, at this point, we don't know which approach, if any, would actually move forward. But both ideas are being discussed because of a very real issue, the gap between rising costs and fixed incomes. And if you're feeling that gap, you're not alone. Let's make this real for a second. Imagine your monthly expenses: rent or housing costs, food, utilities, medication, transportation. Even small increases in each category add up quickly. If groceries alone go up by $50 to $80 a month and utilities rise another $20 or $30, that's already $100 more coming out of your budget. But if your benefit hasn't increased at the same pace, that extra cost has to come from somewhere. That's exactly why conversations like this are happening. Now, let's talk about timing, because this is where things can feel especially uncertain. Your current Social Security and SSDI payments are still following the standard schedule. If your birthday falls between the 1st and the 10th of the month, you're paid on the second Wednesday. If your birthday falls between the 11th and the 20th, you're paid on the third Wednesday. And if your birthday is between the 21st and the end of the month, you're paid on the fourth Wednesday. For SSI, payments typically arrive on the 1st of the month. And if the first falls on a weekend or holiday, the payment comes a little earlier, usually the last business day before. So if you've noticed 2 payments in 1 month before, that's why. It's not a bonus, it's just a scheduling shift. And that's important to understand, because right now there is no extra payment being added to that schedule. Everything is still arriving as expected. Now, let's address the question that's probably on your mind. If something like this does happen, who would benefit? Based on how similar programs have worked in the past, SSI recipients would likely be included. That's because SSI is designed for individuals with limited income and resources, often the most financially vulnerable group. SSDI recipients could also be included, especially those on fixed disability income who are not able to increase their earnings. And in some cases, Social Security retirement beneficiaries might also be part of the plan, particularly those with lower monthly benefits. But again, nothing has been finalized. So while these groups are the most likely candidates, there's no official eligibility list yet. And that leads us to something just as important: who might not see a change. If any emergency bonus were income limited, meaning it's targeted toward lower income recipients, some higher benefit individuals might not qualify. Also, if the policy focuses specifically on SSI and SSDI, certain retirement beneficiaries might not be included. That's why it's so important not to assume anything yet. Now, let's talk about something that often gets overlooked, and that's how increases can interact with other parts of your financial picture. Because sometimes, even when benefits go up, it doesn't feel like a full increase. For example, Medicare premiums. If you're enrolled in Medicare Part B, that premium is typically deducted from your Social Security check. So if your benefit increases by $100, but your Medicare premium increases by $20, your net gain is actually $80. This is what's called the expectation gap. You hear about an increase, but what you actually receive is slightly less than expected. And for SSI recipients, there's another factor. SSI benefits are tied closely to income and resource limits. So if there's any change, even a temporary one, it has to be carefully structured so it doesn't unintentionally reduce eligibility or trigger adjustments. That's one reason why these kinds of proposals take time. They're not just about adding money, they have to fit within the existing rules. Now, let's bring this back to you. If you're watching this and wondering what you should do right now, here's the honest answer: you don't need to take any action at this moment. There's nothing to apply for. There's nothing to sign up for. And there's nothing you're at risk of missing. If anything becomes official, it would be communicated clearly and payments would typically be automatic, just like your regular benefits. So right now, the most important thing you can do is stay informed without letting the uncertainty cause stress. Because your current benefits are still stable, they are still scheduled, they are still being delivered, and nothing about that has changed. Now, I want to address something else that's been circulating, and that's the idea that this is already approved or confirmed. That's simply not accurate. There are discussions, there are signals, but there is no finalized policy yet. And in situations like this, it's very easy for information to move faster than facts. So if you've seen posts or videos claiming that a specific amount is already coming, be cautious. Until something is officially announced, those details are speculation. That doesn't mean nothing will happen. It just means we're not there yet. And that distinction matters, because it helps you make decisions based on reality, not assumptions. Now, let's talk briefly about what to watch for moving forward. If this idea progresses, there are a few key things that would be announced clearly. First, the amount. Whether it's a one-time payment or a temporary increase, the exact dollar figure would be confirmed. Second, eligibility. Who qualifies and whether it includes SSI, SSDI, retirement, or all three. Third, timing. When payments would begin and how long they would last. And fourth, how it's delivered. In most cases, it would likely be automatic, deposited the same way your current benefits are. Those are the 4 pieces of information that turn a discussion into something real. Until then, everything remains in the possible stage, not the guaranteed stage. Now, let's take a moment to ground this in something reassuring. Even with all this uncertainty, your current system is still working. Payments are still being processed. Schedules are still being followed. And your benefits are still arriving as they should. That stability is important, because it means you can plan based on what you know, not what might happen. And if something changes, it will be added on top of that foundation, not replace it. So here's what matters most right now. There is discussion about an emergency-style bonus or increase. Nothing has been officially approved yet. Your current payments are unchanged and on schedule. And if any new benefit is introduced, it will be clearly announced and automatically delivered. That's the full picture, without the noise. And I know this kind of topic can bring up a lot of emotions: hope, concern, uncertainty. That's completely understandable. But you're not behind. You're not missing anything. And you're not alone in trying to make sense of it all. As always, the goal here is to keep you informed calmly, clearly, and honestly, so you can feel confident about what's happening with your benefits. If you found this helpful, you can let me know in the comments or share how these changes, even the possibility of them, would affect your situation. And if you want to stay updated as soon as anything becomes official, you can subscribe and check back for the latest. For now, take a breath, stay steady, and know that your benefits are still moving exactly as scheduled. We'll keep watching this closely together.